All right, click the links to join channel. Check out the other links to various other video hosting platforms. So I'm not even mad at this chick for calling the Germanic Danish girl, or as she's portrayed in the cartoon, seasonless one, because the roasting that is going back and forth over this is on both sides. So it's like you're gonna have to put on your asbestos panties. But it's a weird flex where she says something about the Grammys. I think that means nominated, right? I mean, I don't think you can win them so far out ahead of time. So I think that just means nominated. And I think the original '89 version, I think it I don't know if it won Grammys, but I think it might have won some other animation awards. But this is a weird flex when you compare these two things, put them side by side. The one on the left looks horrible, man. And the more I look at the one on the right, the better the animation looks. Look at if you can see the details of the waves. That's a bright feel to it. That's good, solid art. And the thing on the left it's CGI, right? I didn't realize that she's supposed to be underwater when she's singing this. I thought she was out above the water. But that's the water in the background, and the closer you look at the trailer, the worse things look. It's like that gray tone. That's the whole thing. And usually when you release, a trailer ahead of time, you're kind of putting your best foot forward to entice people to watch the show. It's bizarre that the trailer is on YouTube now, and it's got like 1.5 million dislikes and 500,000 likes. Anyway, so watching the corporate, you will watch the corporate media propaganda, you'll eat the bugs, and you'll live in the pod. Watching people come to the defense of billion-dollar corporations like Disney, these propaganda machines, that has been an eye-opening experience for me to see these soy boys just immediately rush to defend. You leave Disney alone. If you remember that meme from Britney Spears. How did the left wing get so completely subverted to be nothing more than corporate shills, puppets, and whores for these billion-dollar companies? Disney doesn't know you exist. You don't, they'll be fine without you defending them. It's okay to criticize bad movies. These are some of the compare and contrast the different tones that these set. And I understand this is a higher budget film, but if you don't have the budget to make a underwater live action movie, I don't know what the budget was for the Little Mermaid, then you just can't do it. I mean, you can't release something if it's going to be muddy gray, and that's the whole thing. You're better off with a 2D animation. So the old left wing said, kill your TV. These new obese soy boys get their popcorn and they watch She-Hulk, and they're outraged if you dare to criticize the billion-dollar globalist propaganda machine. So the one on the left is the original '89 animation. The one on the right is the current year. They recreated some shots shot for shot, but as you can see, if you can't make it look as good as the original, why would you even bother? When comparison, it looks horrible. I didn't realize how horrible it looks because, I see a trailer like this and think well, yeah, I'm never going to watch the movie, not even to review it. It's that bad. Why would I pay attention to it? And then people started pointing out how dark and gloomy it was. I thought, oh yeah, that is weird. It's a Disney movie, and you made something that is even just a trailer. It's actually depressing. And you look at the original trailer, the '89 film, you're like, whoa, that's freaking fantastic. Some alien landscape. It really sets the tone. The new stuff is just if you don't have the money to do it, then just do something else. So maybe it's time to just consider that TV is evil. Have these soy boys ever stopped to consider that they're the ones who are being brainwashed into defending stuff that is actively crap? And some people are turning around on the left and they're going we can somebody that Mary Sue is saying we can criticize the Disney movie without criticizing the actor because it looks like the CGI doesn't look very good. If you're defending billion-dollar corporate Disney, then you've been subverted and brainwashed. Listening to obese cat ladies and soy boys defend some media Soylent Green company actually makes me angry. Because it's the lack of self-awareness to see how far the left has come to just be nothing but corporate shills. It feels like the bread and circuses phase of Weimar and Nero is fiddling, and obese soy people are sitting on couches just stuffing their faces this, high fructose corn syrup, more soy for me, watching this Hollywood brainwashing machine. And they think like, yeah, we're the rebels. We're watching Amazon and Netflix and Disney and Hulu. I got to have my shows. You don't really need any of them. You could read a book. You don't need to pay Disney or any of these corporate. I gotta watch Cuties. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I'm sure. Why are your pants around your ankles? Why should I think for myself when the TV tells me what to think and who to hate? Soros funds Antifa and then says that the fash is bad, so they burn down small businesses instead of going to the politicians or bankers to seek peaceful, constitutionally protected redress of grievance. When you control the media, it gives you such powerful tools to control the NPCs. You can label people essentially wrong thinkers and wreckers of progress just by calling them istophobic, but they never have to actually define that term. And it's pointless when they do, because they can change the definition whenever the ADL wants to control something in a different way. Well, that's not inorganic structure of language. It's a control term to make NPCs afraid so that they can be turned against each other instead of cutting the cords and looking up at the puppet masters. They make some dog shit piece of propaganda where you take something European, some piece of European history or some little bit of culture, and you remove the European people from the European story so you can brainwash the next generation of kids. Some non-European kids can need to see themselves in this story. No, they don't, because the problem is it's not their story. They're not in the story. Why would they be? If they want, they can just write their own stories. It seems odd that Disney doesn't write a story from Africa, set in Africa. Somehow, I doubt that they would have a Norwegian play some creature from African mythology. It's just a character. It's just fictional African mythology. It doesn't matter. It's just well, it's okay. So have a Germanic person play one of their fictional characters. Oh, well, suddenly it matters. You can't erase their culture. Why would you think it'd be okay to erase the Northern Europeans? Because Hollywood told me it was okay to hate them. This isn't that deep. The Hollywood machine just hates European people and wants them erased as if they never existed. That's what's the Simpsons meme? They point to the sign on the bus. These Epstein people in Hollywood really just want to diddle kids. That's why they're pushing this cultural Marxism in one direction. We need to teach kindergartners about sexuality. Okay, well, we just need to create a new homeschooling movement or micro school movement to teach nationalist kids and the nationalist-based kids. What does that mean, Nazi? It means that we're not going to teach kindergartners about that little boys can be girls. That's what it means to be a Nazi now, is that we're not going to sexualize children. Exactly like the Germans did in the 40s. Okay, weird flex with these people. Anyway, so when you finally understand that this is part of the humiliation ritual, that they really are just Marxists or the brainwashed, useful idiots of the Marxists, that they really, to be blunt, they just hate European people. It's okay to point that out. Getting the blue pill sleeper to realize that it's just simple it's a challenge, but it's an enjoyable one. It's a good part-time hobby for me. It's a story from Denmark, so I guess they're Danish or Germanic. I don't really know that kind of stuff, as someone was pointing out, from 150 years ago. So no, there's no African people in the story, and that's not. It's not offensive to say that. It's not non-offensive to say that. It's just a statement, a fact that stands on its own. There are no African people in Lord of the Rings. It's like, it doesn't have to be that deep. It is what it is. The people of the world are not fungible. This seems to be Bolshevik dogma. It was a communist dogma back in the 50s, and it resulted in a lot of people starving to death. But it's as ridiculous as all their other nonsense. Back then, they used to say that the communist dialectic predicts that school teachers will be farmers. It will humble them, and it will also produce food. No, 50 million people starve, but whatever. It's not phobic to say that European stories are for European people. It's not acceptable to erase us from our own stories. Why would the parasites in Hollywood feel that was acceptable? He goes, no, but little black girls are seeing themselves in this story. they don't need to see themselves in a story from Denmark with portrait of Danish people. That's insane. You don't. It's not phobic to criticize erasing the Europeans from European stories. You're the victims of cultural erasure. Nobody is saying anything about it because the Hollywood media machine is controlled by these anti-white Bolsheviks. Imagine them doing this to any other group of people. It's okay to get perturbed about this and call these people the parasitical Marxists that they are. By now, you got to see what's going on. I mean, these people hate you, and they're using the media to express their hate. It's kind of like a stochastic terrorist technique against you. As you see in the Twitter comments from people, they use this as a way to spread hatred against European people, and you're like, you hate them so much that you want to emulate them in every single way. You want to insert yourself into their stories in every single way, and yet you hate them, and you want to be in their stories instead of just simply creating your own stories. Or the bigger question is, like, why don't you ask these big billion-dollar companies, Disney, why don't you tell a original story from Africa or wherever you whatever example you want to use, South America, China, whatever. It's like, why don't you tell an original story instead of specifically putting African people in for Germanic people? The red hair, green and blue-eyed, and blonde hair. It's the red hairs. A red-haired, blue-eyed European person is the most rare subset of all humanity. Red hair in general, most rare subset. Even blonde hair, blue eyes is ultra rare. And globally, like, green and red eye or blue eyes are very rare. It's not. We're going to put minorities in the movie. My friend in Christ, you are the minority. European people, the blonde, red-haired, blue eyes, green eyes, that's the ultra rare human minority. It's weird that so many people don't realize that. They've had such a massive impact because, like, they have a unique blend of IQ, creativity, and teamwork abilities that they're able to build something. And there's a whole theory about it on how wintertime created like these environmental stressors were able to create a very successful high IQ creative group of people who also were forced to work together. And that's why, because they had to plan for winter. So it, over generations, it created people who were able to do amazing things. But no, like, the numbers are like, if you're green or blue eyes, you're an ultra rare minority. It's weird that you would be okay in any way, shape, or form with seeing yourself replaced by people who outnumber you 10-1. And like, you think that's okay. That's like, you've just been brainwashed if you think that's okay. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Check me out on Subscribestar, and I'll see you guys all next episode.